Have you ever felt like you're building a digital skyscraper with, I don't know, just a vague sketch on a napkin? Well, in this explainer, we're going to introduce you to Terraform, which is basically the master blueprint for your entire infrastructure.
So let's start with a scene that might feel a little too real. You're clicking around in a web console, you're configuring things, and you're just hoping you remembered every single setting for that new server. It kind of feels like a house of cards, right? And you just know it's about to get chaotic.
And all that chaos, it has a name. We call it drift. That's when your development environment looks nothing like your production one. Scaling up becomes this frantic, all-hands-on-deck manual effort. Deployments are totally inconsistent, and trying to figure out who changed what and when, good luck. It's exactly like building that skyscraper without a blueprint. It is messy, it's unreliable, and there's no way you can scale it predictably.
But what if you had that master plan? A single authoritative document that describes exactly how your skyscraper should be built, right down to the last nut and bolt. Well, that's what Terraform is for your infrastructure.
So, what is this master plan really? Terraform is what we call an infrastructure as code tool. It's a fancy way of saying you just write down what you want in a really simple human-readable language called HCL. Then Terraform takes your description and just builds it. It turns that code into actual running servers, databases, and networks.
Okay, so every good blueprint has two main parts, right? You've got your list of materials, and then you've got the plans for the structures you're going to build with those materials. In the Terraform world, we call these providers and resources. First up, you need your catalog of building materials. This is your provider. You can think of a provider as just a plugin that tells Terraform how to talk to a specific service, like AWS or Google Cloud. It's how Terraform knows what's even available to build with in the first place. Think of providers like different hardware stores. You might tell Terraform, hey, for this project, we're shopping at the AWS store, or maybe the Azure store. You can even use a GitHub provider to manage your code repositories. This is actually what makes Terraform cloud agnostic. You can shop at pretty much any store you want.
So once you've picked your store, you need to actually define the things you want to build. These are your resources, and these are the real deal. The I-beams, the windows, the electrical wiring, they're the individual components that make up your final building.
So in the cloud, a resource could be an EC2 virtual server, an S3 bucket for storage, a whole private network, or even something like a namespace inside a Kubernetes cluster. You just declare exactly what you want in your blueprint, and Terraform makes sure it gets built and stays that way.
Okay, this is cool. You've got a blueprint describing what you want to build. But how do you keep track of what's actually been built? How do you make sure the construction site perfectly matches the plan, especially when you've got multiple people making changes all the time?
And that brings us to maybe the most critical concept in all of Terraform, the state file. Seriously, think of it like the project manager's clipboard. It maps every single thing in the real world back to the code in your blueprint. It is the absolute single source of truth for what exists.
Now, you can keep this state file on your own laptop, and that's totally fine when you're just learning. But the second you're on a team, you have to use remote state. Storing it centrally, like in an S3 bucket, lets you collaborate and, crucially, lock the state so two people can't try to renovate the same room at the same time. For teams, this isn't a best practice. It's absolutely essential to prevent disasters. So here's why this all matters. The state file is what allows Terraform to understand the impact of your changes. It knows what it's responsible for. So when you ask it to get rid of a server, it knows exactly which server to target and won't accidentally bulldoze a critical part of your live application.
All right, so we've got our blueprint. We have a way to track progress. How do we actually, break ground and start building? Well, it's a beautifully simple and reliable three-step workflow. First, you run Terraform init. This just gets your project ready and downloads the providers you need. Think of it like getting the official blueprints approved by the city. Second, you run Terraform plan. This shows you exactly what changes are about to happen. And finally, when you like what you see, you run Terraform apply to actually execute the build.
And you have to understand the difference between plan and apply. The plan command is your safety net. It's a dry run. It tells you, hey, I'm about to create one server, update one network, and destroy 0 things. It's totally safe to run anytime. Apply, well, apply is what makes it all real. It's the command that can be destructive, which is why you never, and I mean never, skip the plan step. Having a blueprint is powerful, but even the most experienced builders can make mistakes. So let's go over a few common pitfalls to help you build a little smarter.
Okay, here are the classics, the mistakes that can turn your beautiful blueprint into a total mess. Storing state locally on your machine, that just leads to people overwriting each other's work. Hard-coding secrets and passwords right in your code, that's like taping your bank password to your front door. And of course, blindly applying changes without reviewing the plan. You're just asking for trouble. Avoiding these is really what separates the pros from the amateurs.
And really, this all boils down to a fundamental shift in how you think. Terraform transforms your infrastructure from this manual, brittle, slow bottleneck into an automated, repeatable, and scalable blueprint. It's truly the foundation of modern DevOps. So the question I want to leave you with is this: is your infrastructure a blueprint you can trust, or is it still just a bottleneck?